Welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So this video here is part 5 on the Murdered LH Torana that we've done a full respray in matte black. The previous videos have gone through how to mix and match the desired gloss level of your flat clear. We then went on to how to spray over chrome because we had some chrome mirrors that needed to go painted black. Part 3 covered repairs and prime. And the video just before this one was part 4, and that was a time-lapse video on repair and primer work. And this video here is just going to be including the paintwork on the insides of some of these panels. Now, being that this car here is a matte finish, it can actually be hard to replicate the exact same finish on two separate panels if you're not painting them side by side, which is the reason that we did decide to paint the insides first, then bolt the panels back on and respray the entire car as one. Now, what you saw me doing there was mixing up my paint, so I had a couple of big batches of my matte clear made up. I then mixed them up to a 2-to-1 ratio with hardener, and it was a bit of a cold day on this occasion, so that's why you probably noticed that I had my paint sitting in that bucket of warm water down there. That also helps with flash off times too. So although it may be only about 15 degrees ambient temperature, all I have to do is go around, put one coat on, and by the time I've gotten around the rest of that job, it's actually right to go straight away. So less time in the booth and less flash off times, less stuffing around, and the sooner you can get back out onto the rest of the car. Gun I'm using here is the DeVilbiss SGK 600 BV. So the settings that I'm using on this thing is full fan, full fluid, and 25 PSI. This gun is also known in the US as the FLG5. I think it's also known all over Europe and the UK as the FLG5 as well. For some reason they rebrand it for the Australian market, although it is exactly the same spray gun, and I do highly recommend this gun to anyone who is looking for a reasonable price spray gun, but something that is still made to a top quality and will last and will actually be able to give you a nice quality finish at the same time. My regular viewers will be a little bit surprised probably to see another video on this project because I've been so busy that I haven't even had time to finish editing this. I actually had most of it edited. All I had to do was come over and do the narration, which can be tiring at times, and sometimes the mere thought of turning my computer on can make me feel like going to sleep. But I am taking the advantage of having a month off at the moment in Thailand to catch up on some of these awesome old videos, and I really would like to see this one, and especially the HQ Holden finished off, because I got most of that edited up and never actually got around to narrating it, because sometimes I do just run out of stuff to say, especially in those longer painting clips. So I'm going to do my best to keep you guys interested as long as possible through the rest of these videos. I might even do some Q&A sessions during some of those longer videos where I do run out of stuff to say, something to keep you guys interested and a reason to continue watching. I know there's people that will just actually happily watch me spray painting, so me filling your head with a bit of technical info in the background is just a bonus. Okay, so a few key points that I will include about the application of your flat clear. You don't have to try and absolutely smash it on like if you're a flow coater or anything like that. All that's going to do is actually change the effect. So wetter areas will actually have more gloss, the drier areas will be more flat. So you really want to get it nice and even over the entire thing. I like to have my pressure up. I don't like overloading the fluid on there. So you basically want it sort of like a Mazda paint job where they've got a very fine orange peel, but that doesn't mean that they're dry as such. So you don't want to get a real overloaded, thick, chunky orange peel. You want it nice and thin. 2 coats obviously, so you still want to get enough on there that you're still protecting that base coat, and obviously this is a 2-pack finish, so it will last for a long time, and that fine orange peel will not show up. It'll look dead flat. By the time the matte clear comes to the surface, it will actually look dead flat, like you've got no orange peel in there at all. You also only really get one chance with flat clears as well. There is no polishing stage, so if you go and get junk and dust and crap all through your paint job, you will not be able to polish it out. So get it clean, treat that booth like a hospital. As you notice, I've got my water down on the floor. I'll keep myself very clean, make sure I've got my spray jacket on, make sure I've got a really clean gun, filter the paint into the gun, use a filter in the gun. Anything, just tack rag the hell out of it, air lines, blow it off. Anything you can think of to keep that paint job clean is a good idea. It is a little bit more forgiving than a gloss paint job, so if you do get 1 or 2 small bits, don't panic. When it's still wet, you might be like, oh no, it's ruined my whole job. Wait till it flattens down. If you can still see them, you'll have to repaint them. but you may find that you might not even see them, or you might be able to see them if you're really looking for them, but you might be happy enough just to run with it. So we're about to go on with our second coat now, and the only flash off time I left, as I mentioned before, was just however long it took me to get my first coat on the rest of the panels, and then come straight back around, fill the gun back up, and off I go with my second coat. Had I have not heated my clear up on a cold day like this, then I probably would have wanted to have left it for at least 15 minutes, but the gloss level in the clear coat, being that it's a flat clear, will actually act as a guide coat and let you know whether or not that second coat is ready to go on. So if it's still glossy, as you see the part where I'm just painting, well then it's not quite ready, but if it's dull, well then that means that your clear has flashed off enough for you to put your second coat on. So the reason that I actually decided to continue on with this video in particular was that I'm actually doing a lot of work over on my website, thegunman.net.au, and I'm categorizing all my videos so that you guys can just go to that one spot, gunman.net.au, and you can look at projects, you can look at automotive refinishing, you can look at spray gun reviews just by clicking on that tab. And I got to my LH Torana videos. I thought, you know what, that car really deserves to be finished off. So that was the main reason that I did decide to get back onto this, and I've just set myself a goal just then. I'm going to make one video a day, and I'm not stopping until this project has been finished, right up to the very end. Even if I do have to put a little bit of music on in some of those longer spray scenes, I have decided that I will 100% finish this video set off. So the paint brands that I'm using on this was the Concept No Mix NM10, and then the clear coat was some Duke Zone 2K clear, so some MS clear, mixed with the DuPont flattening base or flattening binder, which was AU175. I mixed that to a 75% ratio, 75% AU175, 25% Duke Zone 2K MS clear. And then after your flattening binder and clear have been mixed together to get your correct gloss level, you will mix your hardener in on top of that at a 2:1 ratio. So I use the Concept MS fast hardener, and we just get that by the litre through Jeff from Park Automotives here in Perth. He really looks after us with our products, and we do pay a good price compared to anyone else over here in Perth who just seem to want to rip us off. I know for a fact that paint is not as expensive to manufacture as it is for what we pay for it. I've actually heard stories that all the big paint companies got together and decided to start price fixing, so that we have got no other choice but to pay stupid prices for paint. And if it wasn't for Jeff and the discounts that he did give us, it would have been extremely tough in that first year of running my own business. It was hard enough as it is. Although, looking back on it, I was able to save a fair bit of money up because I was smart about it and I worked my ass off for a long time. One thing I've found with a lot of these flat clears, like the Standox one for instance, and even the Glazeret one, sometimes you just get these batches and you'd finish painting it, and it would literally look like you've just grabbed a bunch of sand, like a handful of sand, and just thrown it in that panel. Although you've put it through 10 or 15 paint strainers, you've ran a paint strainer in your spray gun as well, and followed absolutely every single procedure to make sure you get that thing as clean as possible. But then after you bake it, you come back in and it's just absolutely terrible. You then go and tell the paint manufacturer, well, you must have done something wrong. Well, look, I'm sorry, if I can use one product and use it exactly the same as the next product and I don't get the exact same results or similar, well then that leaves me to believe that it is the product, not the application. And I believe it's something to do with the active ingredient in there, which is talc. Yes, similar to talcum powder. It's basically just a rock that is very powdery, and it obviously mixed with the clear will make it turn flat. But I think that maybe after a certain amount of time, if it's been sitting on the shelf, that could possibly be it. The retailers probably don't do a massive turnover of their flat clears because, to be honest, it's not really used that often. So if they've had their Standox or Glazeret matte clear sitting on the shelf for 2 or 3 years, who knows what's happened to that ingredients inside there. And then once you apply it and then bake it out, all these little bits of talc are raising to the surface, coming up above the surface of the clear coat and then leaving you with a pretty average finish that the only way to fix is to repaint. And then you go and repaint it and exactly the same thing happens again, because it is not your fault, it is the product. So just be careful of that in the future. If you are to do any matte clear applications, it may be worth doing a few test panels to make sure that you're going to get the desired effect, and make sure you're not going to make an absolute mess out of your job and have to redo it and waste all that material at the same time as well. So this is the job here. As it's just been painted, it's still got a little bit of gloss to it, and if you hang around here for a couple more minutes, you'll be able to have a look at what it's like fully cured after being left overnight. As always, I'll do my best to get back to any relevant questions and comments, so be sure to leave a couple of comments below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you have enjoyed it. Any longer questions, be sure to ask them. The worst thing that can happen is that I don't answer. Someone else may get to it and answer your question later on down the track, but I may even get to those longer ones in the next video and answer them for you. So there it is. Once it's been left overnight, it's got a really nice looking flat look to it. It's nice and clean. There's not junk and stuff and crap all through it and bits of dust and that all through the paint. There was quite a few repairs to do on those panels, so all in all, I've actually done quite a good job to get them to look like that. This is the car as it left our workshop, looking pretty goddamn awesome. The next video is going to be picking up exactly where this one left off, so stay tuned for that next video. Make sure you do go over to my website, thegunman.net.au, which I'm constantly working on, making new posts and trying to make better for you guys. If you would like to keep an eye on absolutely every post that I do, you can subscribe to my RSS feed. It's actually very simple to do, and you will get a notification of every single time I do a post. Now you've seen this video, get out there and paint some shit. Thanks for watching, and this has been another Gunman production. Goodbye.